Good afternoon. I'm Rajan Narayan from Cyberbeat, and I'll be moderating this afternoon's webinar hosted by ABA, moving bank to SaaS. Banks of all shapes and sizes are moving to Temenos Banking Grade SaaS with immediate wins in terms of speed to market and agility. Temenos expert Zen, with over 25 years in banking software and 12 plus years in the Asia Pacific region, is the Business Solution Group Technology Manager at Temenos, based in Singapore. Works closely with banks modernizing legacy systems or migrating to Temenos SaaS to maximize business, technology, and value. I would like to now invite Zen to present Temenos SaaS Cloud Service and also provide some success stories. Zen.
So what I want to do, probably with the next 20 to 25 minutes or so, is cover two key points before we go into the fireside chat. And that is, I want to introduce you to the Temenos SaaS Cloud Service. And afterwards, I'm going to talk about a couple of success stories. And thereafter, we'll move into a fireside chat with Connie and Rajan as the moderator. So without further ado, let's talk about the Temenos SaaS Cloud Service. So the Temenos SaaS Cloud Service consists of three key pillars. Number one, it's very much deployed on the public cloud. As default, it's deployed with our trusted cloud partner, Microsoft Azure. The second thing is it takes our rich functionality that we've built over the last 30 plus years from areas around retail, wealth, corporate banking, and so forth, and makes that available to our customers. And the third most important point is with regards to IT operations and support. So as part of the Temenos SaaS offering, Temenos are providing the necessary managed services for this solution. So whether it's with regards to provisioning the environments, making proactive monitoring of the solution itself, keeping the solution evergreen, and so forth, are all provided as part of this service and are very much linked back to service level agreements. So essentially, the solution consists of two key parts. You've got the software itself that is very comprehensive in nature, very much from front to back itself. It is a solution that could also be extended. A bank that takes our solution, such as, for example, in retail, may need to obviously customize that to meet very specific market needs. And the tools are very much available as part of the Temenos SaaS offering to allow our customers to very much extend the capability of the solution. And the third thing is that our customers are taking advantage of the extensive research and development that Temenos undertakes as part of its software. Over and above that, with the software, is you essentially have the service itself. So the service is we've been doing SaaS for over 14 years now. So we have customers in probably 30 plus regulators worldwide. So we can obviously support our customers when it comes to getting regulatory approval. The solution itself is obviously provided on a continuous basis. We provide continuous updates to keep you evergreen. So no need to undertake big bang type of upgrades in the future. And essentially, you as a customer can very much focus on your customers and delivering a core service to your markets, whereas Temenos are very much focused in providing that end-to-end SaaS service. Now, if we look at our offering and our capability that we've been delivering to our customers for over 14 plus years now, and our customer base has been growing. These are just some of the key statistics. So in terms of across all of our customers, we've probably got in excess of 190 million customer accounts. In terms of payments, we're probably processing in excess of $2.5 billion dollars in terms of payments. We have had many go lives over the years. I mean, in 2023 alone, there were 50 plus go lives on our SaaS offering alone. And in terms of our service availability, so we have obviously SLAs in terms of availability. When we measure this on a monthly basis, it very much averages around 99.96%. And as I mentioned before, our customer base is quite diverse. So we have small banks, we have large banks, very much based on the same software stack, whether you're a small bank with just a few thousand customers or a huge bank with an excess of 100 million customers itself. We're very much, it's the same software, and we're very much operating in over 30 plus regulatory jurisdictions. So essentially, the service consists of the following, and this is essentially the food chain in terms of the different sort of responsibilities that are provided. If you were self-hosting the solution, you would essentially have to take on a lot more responsibility. So the change development and the license maintenance is what traditionally Temenos as a SaaS provider provides to our customers. But over and above that, if you take our Temenos SaaS offering, we're obviously providing you regular updates and keeping you evergreen with upgrades. We're obviously provisioning the actual cloud infrastructure and working with our trusted cloud partner, Microsoft Azure, to keep things up to date. As part of the offering, we have 24/7 operations. So we have what we call a cloud command center that are making sure that the solution is running at its optimum level, as well as making sure that updates are accordingly provided as necessary. We also have what we call a security operations center, or SOC, as it's known in the industry. And essentially, this team that operates throughout the year are very much making sure that the solutions that we make available to our customers as a SaaS offering are very much secure and aligned with international SaaS certifications and standards that I'll be talking about. We obviously have a service desk as well that obviously caters for any requests, and we fulfill those requests. Over and above that, we're very much making sure that the solution, it has high availability built in, as well as disaster recovery and business continuity. And we test this on a regular basis with our customers. When it comes to security, it is very much a joint security responsibility. So you as the bank, it's your data. You have full control over the data within the solution itself. We as the SaaS provider cannot access that data. We cannot sign on to the solution. You as the sole owner of the data can control who actually accesses the solution. But over and above that, Temenos as the SaaS provider make sure that the solution is secure and very much aligned with international standards. And then over and above that, as accessing the solution itself, you as the bank can have full control in terms of configuring the solution, adding new features as necessary and configuring them, as well as testing them, but also providing that first line of support. So when your users make use of the solution itself, if they have an incident, they would bring that up internally, and then your service desk will work with our service desk accordingly. And of course, you as the bank have full control in terms of running the bank itself, as well as full oversight itself. So that's essentially, so essentially the value you get with Temenos SaaS is effectively Temenos having more skin in the game and very much doing a lot more of the heavy lifting, whereas you as a bank can concentrate more on your core business itself. And if we just go into a bit more detail on how we deploy the solution, it's as follows. So what you see here is that this being deployed on Microsoft Azure as our trusted cloud provider. The way we deploy the solution is as follows. We have what we call a primary region, and we have a paired secondary region. So the primary region itself would consist typically of 3 availability zones where the Temenos solution would run across. So it has baked into this high availability, so that should one of the availability regions have a failure, the other 2 availability sites can then take over that processing itself. But what we're also doing is making sure that data gets replicated over to the secondary region, which is effectively the disaster recovery area. So should the primary region totally go down, then we can actually fail over to the secondary region and the bank can continue their work from point of failure itself. So very much the Temenos SaaS solution has high availability and disaster recovery baked into its service offering. As part of the offering, as I mentioned before, we have security is absolutely paramount to making a SaaS offering available, particularly to our customers who work in an industry that is highly regulated, which is banking. So with regards to this, we have what we call a dedicated security operations center. So this center itself is very much aligned with international SaaS standards, such as, for example, SOC 1, SOC 2, and SOC 3, which are the gold standards for SaaS offering. But over and above that, we make sure that our cloud operations are very much aligned to international standards, such as the Cloud Security Alliance team. In addition to that, security is very much built into the product itself. So as part of the development, the design and the development of the solution itself, we make sure that standards are very much embedded within our offering itself. And over and above that, the service. So the service is accordingly audited and make sure that these processes are very much aligned with international standards. And again, the Security Operations Center is available 24/7 throughout the year. If I just briefly talk about our certifications, but also where we have customers. So we have customers that are spread across 30 plus regulators worldwide, whether it's in the Americas, EMA, or indeed APAC. So for example, in APAC, we have customers, for example, in Singapore, and very much the solution has been aligned to the requirements of MAS. Likewise, for example, places such as the Philippines, where we have a number of customers that have gone live with our solution and others that are in the process of implementing as part of this Temenos SaaS offering. So we are very much equipped to help our customers work with the regulator, because at the end of the day, it is the bank who are the regulated entity, but to help them fulfill the necessary guidelines set out by their regulator to allow them to take such a critical business offering into the cloud, which is Temenos SaaS. And like I said before, we have various SaaS certifications that are very much available to our customers who can actually access these, and we keep these certifications evergreen. A lot of these certifications are very much undertaken with independent parties coming in to audit our offering. In terms of the reports and certifications, we have what we call the Temenos Trust Center portal. So any customer, a signed up customer who makes use of Temenos SaaS, can actually have access to this portal, where they are able to actually get the latest and greatest in terms of our various SaaS certifications, i.e. whether it's SOC 2 or whether it's the ISO 27000 series for security in the cloud. All those certifications are very much kept evergreen. They are made available to our customers so that their compliance team can actually review, but also be able to share these with their regulators, because regulators do ask for such information as part of giving given the bank approval to put their core solution in the cloud itself. And they do on a regular basis may come back to the customer once they are live to ask for such certifications. So we've made this critical information readily available to our SaaS customers through our Temenos Trust Center portal. One other important point that we have as part of our offering is that we have this concept of uniform terms. So when you look at a SaaS cloud service offering such as Temenos SaaS, it obviously consists of a deployment in the cloud, and this being Microsoft Azure. It consists of the resiliency, which I've talked about before, being high availability and disaster recovery itself. It talks about platforms, it talks about the security, the support, and so forth. All of this is actually documented, and we have what we call this concept of uniform terms, and we actually make sure that each of our SaaS customers is very much aligned to these uniform terms, because at the end of the day, Temenos is providing a uniform service to our SaaS customers, whether they are a small bank or whether they are a huge bank itself. And this was introduced early last year, very much one of the first sort of vendors as a SaaS provider to provide this to the market itself. That very much provides the necessary credibility as a SaaS provider itself. And again, this is fully documented. It's also kept evergreen and very much available to all of our SaaS customers to be able to access, to review internally, but also to be able to socialize this with their regulator. Another very important point when it comes to our Temenos SaaS offering is obviously ESG, environmental, social, and governance initiatives. Within Temenos, ESG is very much part of our DNA. So when we are developing software itself, we very much make sure that it's being developed to run as optimum as possible itself, ultimately to allow banks to keep their carbon footprint to a minimum level, because this is something that we're seeing a lot of requirements, particularly in the Americas and Western Europe, and no doubt we're seeing parts of that out here in Asia as well, certainly in the Pacific, and it's very much embedded within our offering. So as a standard practice, when we develop software, we make sure it can run at an optimum level in the cloud because our software is cloud native, but we also measure that. So we work with a number of organizations that have measured our ESG capability itself. So we obviously have AAA when it comes to our carbon footprint. We've also worked very closely with Microsoft, who have developed a carbon footprint calculator that can allow our SaaS customers to be able to measure their carbon footprint and be able to have reporting available as part of that. And as part of this initiative, we do performance check our solution. So on a regular basis, we undertake performance benchmarks. We can deal with huge volumes, but in recent years, because we've satisfied that requirements for the largest of banks in the industry itself, we've also made sure that our solution is sustainable from a performance perspective itself. And we find that it can run at very high throughput with minimal sort of cloud compute infrastructure, meaning that it can keep its carbon footprint as low as possible. So really, with that all in mind, Temenos is very much a trusted SaaS provider, very much has the governance in place, and we can help our customers with regards to governance, but also regulatory coverage. As I've said, we've got customers in over 30 plus regulators, many here in Asia, whether it be in the Philippines, Malaysia, or indeed in places like Hong Kong as well. Security very much inbuilt from the ground up itself, including our security operations center that are proactively monitoring the Temenos SaaS for all of our customers. The data itself, very key. Every customer, obviously, the data is the most important asset, because that's where they can serve their customers, but getting a lot of insights on how their customers are using their different products, and how they can attract more business as well as attract more customers as well. But also the defense, making sure that the solution is secure. ESG is very important, as I've just spoken about, having that AAA rating, but also the total cost of ownership. We have undertaken a number of studies with our customers where they've looked at self-hosting the solution versus using the Temenos SaaS. And in a lot of the times they found that the Temenos SaaS offering has given them greater value compared to doing this themselves. So some of the key achievements I just wanted to talk about with regards to Temenos SaaS is that in terms of the cloud stack itself, so on Microsoft Azure, we do testing on a business as usual basis. In one of our previous tests, we were able to prove that we were able to process in excess of 150,000 transactions per second, very much based on the SaaS platform, which is underpinned by Microsoft Azure. Very much a trusted cloud provider, because we are very much deployed in many countries itself, and our solution is very much being measured across various security certifications. Our ESG rating itself, as I mentioned before, is AAA. But also in terms of our SaaS offering, very much considered to be regulated. End of the day, the bank is the regulated entity. They would have to engage with the regulator to get the necessary approval, but we have essentially the right certifications to help our customers get the necessary approval through our ISO and SOC certifications. And the final thing, it is very much considered to be a secured SaaS. We've worked quite closely with Microsoft, who brought in their security experts recently, and they gave us excellent rating when it came to the way we secure our live sites. So with that in mind, I just wanted to cover two success stories. There are many, but I just wanted to talk about two examples of this. One of them is called Alex Bank. So Alex Bank are very much a challenger bank in Australia. They are deploying the solution, the Temenos SaaS solution, particularly for corporate banking itself. The reason they obviously went directly with SaaS is obviously they want to concentrate more on providing a core business to their customers and concentrate on customer better experience, and have the actual management of the solution undertaken by the vendor, in this case being ourselves. They obviously chose Temenos because of its rich capability to help the corporate world, but at the same time because they were able to see that when it came to a SaaS offering, the right certifications and so forth were in place, where we were able to help them get approval. And as part of going live, they've seen a huge number of positive outcomes, particularly with regards to the number of deposits and loans that they give to their customers has hugely increased. But customer satisfaction and retention is key for them, and it's an area where they are hitting their KPIs around this because of Temenos SaaS that has helped them to deploy this. As part of that, they're now able to also include more AI capabilities within their offering and do that at ease because it's very much a SaaS offering. It's available on the cloud itself, and it's fully scalable, allowing them to introduce such capabilities into their offering and provide even better customer experiences. The other customer use case I just wanted to briefly talk about is with regards to CAF, who are based in Malaysia itself. They are obviously a conglomerate itself. They do lots of businesses, but one area is obviously with regards to finance itself. So they set this business up actually during the COVID days to be able to provide digital lending to their customers, and they wanted to obviously go to market quite quickly. So rather than take the traditional route of self-hosting a solution, they decided to take our Temenos SaaS offering for digital loans. And they've seen obviously huge benefits by taking this offering because they can again concentrate on their core business in terms of digital lending and delivering different types of lending products, while we Temenos are able to offer them the platform itself and run as a SaaS offering. And this has also given them the ability to be a lot more agile and add new products very much at speed and keep their costs absolutely low, because at the end of the day, they don't have any branches. It's very much a digital native lender who's able to go to market quite quickly and be able to deliver a great service and bring in sizable revenue. I would sort of encourage you to take this QR code. It gives more details with regards to our Temenos SaaS offering, about the product, it's about the service itself, the different products that are available, but also a lot more case studies can be found here from banks, not just across Asia, but very much across the globe itself. So do take the time to review this, and obviously at Temenos, we're more than happy to talk to you a lot further about our Temenos SaaS offering.
Thank you, Zan. There was a lot of information in there, and we will then move to the fireside chat. I would like to invite Connie Leung to join us at the fireside chat. Connie is the Senior Director and Regional Industry Leader for Asia of the Worldwide Financial Services Industry team at Microsoft. She is the Asia lead with a team of industry experts for driving high-level engagement, as well as industry spokesperson and thought leader in Asia, which provides strategic direction and leadership for all aspects of financial services business as part of Worldwide Financial Services Group, which includes banking, capital markets, and insurance. Connie has led various global initiatives, including blockchain and AI machine learning for corporate banking, and drive digitalization, cloud adoption, and customers' industry digital transformation. So Connie, what challenges do you see banks facing today, and how do you believe a SaaS cloud service can help address these challenges?
Thank you. Thanks for having me on this webinar, and thank you for Temenos to present such a good SaaS offering and collaborating with the Microsoft Azure Cloud Services. I would say, from a macro environment perspective, I think the hybrid workplace, the inflation, the money policy, geopolitical, and also the risk volatility, market and climate and cyber risk, I think these are the things that is key challenges, and also the increasing of the regulatory security and compliance. From a financial services customer's perspective, I think the challenges we're seeing is continuously the cost takeout, doing more with less. And then is the pace and the speed of the digitalization and innovation. And I think that also lead into like, how do you differentiate your customers' engagement and also your employees' experience? I think some of the things could be, some of the use cases that Zan has shared, like some of the challenger banks, the digital banks are disrupting the market itself. So I would say the continuous competition, and that needs to drive continuous innovation. And that also comes to how do you really use data to be smarter and to drive and make a more data-driven decision. I think these are some of the challenges and some of the focus areas that we're seeing our customers are doing. And how do we look at cloud and SaaS, right? So I think today I would say technology has become a very important and a key role that is playing. And I would just highlight 3 areas of where technology has been highly regarded from the bank's perspective, or our insurance or capital market customers. So I would say the cloud. I mean, first of all, we have been talking about cloud and SaaS for the first half hour. I would say cloud has been a major, I would say, game changer and also accelerator for the transformation that's happening. And then the second one will be data and AI. I think data has been there for many years, and of course, machine learning and all that. But lately, of course, is Gen AI, right? So it would not be right for me not to mention Gen AI. So I would think those are the 3, I would say, technology that is really helping and accelerating that as the transformation. From a cloud perspective, I would say from the last at least more than a decade now, we at Microsoft, we have been working very closely with over 120 regulators globally on a one-on-one basis to really talk about what technology means. And as I say, the 3 technologies I just mentioned, right? Cloud, data, and AI, and lately Gen AI. We have done a round of discussion with the regulators about the latest introduction of Gen AI. What does it mean to the existing outsourcing principles and guidelines, and what does it mean for our industry to adopt, right? So I think this is crucial because as soon as we see some of the regulation guidelines being modernized and changed to represent like the, allowing or empowering the industry to adopt this technology like cloud, we see a very, I would say, positive adoption from a cloud perspective. And of course, cloud does bring a few things, right? I think first is scalability. The second one will be agility, and then it's the time to market. So I would say some of the costs is really on the cloud economics, right? So moving from a CapEx to OpEx. One example, I would say, as the earlier cloud adopter like UPS, I think one of the workload they're putting on the cloud was risk, which is one of the first workload. And just by moving that workload to the cloud, we'll be able to save 40% of what it used to take to run the risk application. So I think some of these are really obvious benefits. The other one I would say is modernization of legacy. We have a lot of legacy system in our customers. So building cloud native apps, moving them to a more agile and more scale manner, and also more manageable, because a lot of on-prem is geographically dispersed, right? Cloud actually makes it easier to manage. And of course, having a data-driven organization. So the likes of the Westpac, the likes of the ABN AMRO, they were able to really drive a data-driven organization to be able to do more hyper-personalizations and also meeting the regulatory and cybersecurity area. I think these are some of the benefits of cloud and technology. The last part I will talk about is Gen AI. I think it's been a hot topic. I would say Gen AI has been one of the key, I would say, applications or deployment that financial services is leading for the first time. We used to be calling our industry is the dinosaur, right? We have too much legacy. It's too slow to change, too slow to adapt new technology or innovate. And that's why we have all these digital banks coming to the market to try and disrupt the market and make it a better service. But at the same time, I think Gen AI has been really quite well adopted as a fast pace. So we've seen adoption like few weeks to a few months, and which is really unheard of. I would say the area where Gen AI has been very successful will be on the contact center, self-servicing, customer servicing area, and also helping the relationship managers to be able to do a pitch book better, and also helping the analysts or any of the middle office to do summarization. So I think these are the early adopters that we have seen. And I think the latest one will be on fraud detection, because the reasoning model is actually helping to find the cases. So I would say those are the examples. So a few examples like Rabobank, they have been transforming the virtual assistants to moving a lot of the like 60,000, 80,000 calls a month to virtual assistants so on their website. And the other one, like Moody, they were able to, like for their salespeople to collect data, they save 80% of the time. To analyze data, they save 50% of the time. So I think these are early adopters for technologies like Gen AI and cloud, and we can happy to chat more.
Thank you, Connie. To Zen, what are the most common concerns or misconceptions that banks typically raise during the evaluation of SaaS cloud service?
Thank you for that question.
Yeah, and then maybe you could also add what are the primary drivers and opportunities of your banking clients see in adopting SaaS cloud services?
Well, thank you for both those questions. So I guess if I take the first questions around sort of concerns or misconceptions by banks, there are a number that I'm seeing as I sort of as we engage with customers across the region. I mean, one of them is obviously regulation and getting that regulation approval. A lot of the time, some banks will say, "Well, will I be able to get that approval itself? Because it means that I'm putting the solution in the cloud and I'm trusting a SaaS provider such as Temenos to be able to manage this for me itself." So that is, I think, a misconception because a lot of regulators today have become very much much more cloud ready and supportive in that nature, but they do have obviously guidelines. So more or less all regulators do have guidelines on how and what banks need to do to be able to evaluate cloud vendors itself. And this is where we can actually help our customers work with their regulator to get those specific approvals and satisfy all those necessarily guidelines. I mean, another one, a concern is probably a loss of IT control, because at the end of the day, you're giving certain IT control to a SaaS provider such as Temenos. So whether it's with regards to provisioning the cloud infrastructure, making change, managing the security, and so forth, there is some loss of control in that respect, because the bank can't actually just go and make a change on the database. Yes, they can through the application perspective, because it is their data. They have full ownership of that and who can actually access the application. But going beyond that itself, such as going directly to the database, which is not good practice, by the way, it is not something that can be done. So that is a concern in terms of loss of IT control. But what we do find is a lot of banks would repurpose a lot of their IT onto other more key projects and allow Temenos to then deliver the solution, but continue to have IT personnel that work with us who understand the cloud and understand how we make the solution available to them. And I think the other sort of concern is, well, where is my customer data going to be based? Certain countries around the region, such as, for example, Indonesia, I'm here today in Seoul, Korea, that they require that the data remains in country, which is fine, because the likes of our key cloud provider, Microsoft, they have data centers such as here in Korea. So we can actually deploy the solution and make it available as a SaaS offering, with data being entirely kept in country itself. So those are some of the sort of concerns and misconceptions that come up when they are looking to consider a SaaS cloud service, and we can accordingly address those and ease those concerns. In terms of sort of the primary drivers and opportunities that banking clients see when they do adopt a SaaS cloud service, and obviously Connie alluded to some of these. One of the key ones is obviously a quicker time to market. In the older days, when a bank would take a new solution and they would self-host, they would have to obviously get the necessary hardware and software in place, and that could take a number of months to come to fruition because of internal controls and authorizations and so forth. One of the advantages with the SaaS cloud service is that within a very short period of time, we can provision an environment with the actual software that they have licensed for, so that they can actually start to working with the project itself, and it would allow them to bring products much quicker to market. So that's definitely a key one. And in fact, I just want to mention, as part within Temenos, we have many customers that are still self-hosting the software themselves, such as on-prem. We've also now offering a SaaS service called SaaS Accelerate, whereby if they are to take a new product, or if they're going to take a new version, for example, given that does take time internally to get the infrastructure in place, we can make a SaaS service available for them so that they can start the project. And once they have the infrastructure in place, they can migrate everything across. So that's a real key advantage of SaaS. The second is obviously scalability. We know banks and their volumes can differ throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year, depending on the day itself. So scalability, being able to scale up and scale down to handle business volumes is absolutely key. And this is one of the great advantages of the SaaS cloud service, being able to scale up and down, but at the same time having it being proactively monitored by Temenos as the SaaS provider. And I think the third important thing is it ultimately allows banks to concentrate on their core business. They don't have to worry about having to provision environments, having to monitor them, having to do business continuity planning and disaster recovery. This does take up a lot of time, effort, and cost. If you can get that as part of the service, that can provide a lot of benefits. And to add, I think one of the final ones, and again, Connie has mentioned this as well, is the introduction of AI into operations. What we've done within Temenos is we've introduced a number of AI capabilities, one of them being, for example, explainable AI when it comes to things like approvals of credit or so that could be switched on quite quickly as part of a SaaS offering. So that's called predictive AI. But when it comes to generative AI, again, we very much embedded that in areas like our online help. So when it comes to a new user making use of our solution itself, they don't have to read lines and lines of online help, but they can actually use generative AI capability to ask a specific question and get the right response. And again, that capability requires computing power, and it's very much inbuilt within our SaaS offering.
Thank you, Zen. Back to Connie again. So security, data privacy, and service reliability are critical considerations for banks. Moving to SaaS, could you share insights into key cybersecurity and resilience measures Microsoft has in place to protect sensitive banking data, support regulatory compliance, and ensure uninterrupted SaaS service delivery?
Thank you. I think Zan already covered quite a bit earlier, right? So we are in the financial services industry. Security, compliance, regulatory requirement is number one. There's no, I would say, use case workloads that we're moving to the cloud that doesn't go through a regulatory approval. So I think that's spot on. From a cloud service provider perspective, I think as this is our core service, and we are actually offering an enterprise cloud solution to the market. The key thing is we build in security, compliance, and privacy. This is what we're built with. It comes as our core services. And as Zan also leaned into, we have, as a hyperscaler, we actually have many, many data centers. We're over 300 data centers around the world. We have 60 plus regions that can serve the purpose of, where you want to have your data and where you want to have your solution hosted. And I think the other thing is, because we are serving financial services customers, we actually have a financial services compliance program, which include a contractual agreement with our customer that will meet the regulatory guidelines as a cloud provider. So I think those are some of the, I would say, something that we address from the security and also our investment. The other thing about investment is we actually invested more than $1 billion a year on cybersecurity. And security is our number one core priority for Microsoft. And we actually have a security future initiative, which really talks about secure by design, secure by default, because you really need to protect from all the services, from your email and all of that, and the cloud services, and also secure operations. So these are the things that we do. And we also comes with our tools and services that can manage the risk for our client. So something like our Microsoft Trusted Center, this is something that you can have a look at. What are the regulation requirements in each of the countries and how are we meeting all these certifications, SOX and all that. The other piece, which is quite important, is governance. I think Sen also leaned into that. We do not have a cloud service without governance. Governance is about privacy, about security, and also about where your data is stored. So first of all, we don't have your data. We don't own your data. We don't have access to your data. The data belongs to our customers. Every single key, all the encryption, everything is controlled by the customers. We are just a platform provider. They operate. So I think this is important when you think about the governance. And of course, the data and the privacy goes together on that one. And I think the other thing is our continuous discussion with our regulators and our customers, as well as our partners like Temenos. It's something that we continue to do, like what we are doing now in AI, right? So when you think about Gen AI is purely a cloud service. We actually talked about a lot of Gen AI use case with the regulators. Which ones are risk? What kind of risk is involved? And which one is actually less risk than a traditional on-prem workload? So I think we analyze in terms of how each of the services, how we deploy, what is the risk assessment framework. And I think the good news is with right now, today, with the Gen AI that was launched, it actually can be governed by the existing AI principles. So I don't think we really need to launch, or the regulators doesn't think they need to launch a new AI regulations or principles as of now to govern it. So right now, you can really easily deploy Gen AI based on the use case that you have. So I think these are some of the measures and some of the activities that we do to ensure that we provided the platform and the environment which is suitable and it is readily adaptable and also can be deployed and scaled and in a time that our customers can benefit from.
Thank you, Connie. Finally, to both Zen and Connie, in closing, drawing on your collective experience, what is the single most valuable piece of advice you would offer to a bank embarking on a core transformation journey with SaaS cloud services at the center?
I think my single advice would be, start engaging with the regulator early on in the process and don't delay that until much later down the process itself. I think it's important that if you are considering a SaaS cloud service, is to obviously get the right internal team of stakeholders, such as the Chief Information and Security Officer, compliance team available, so that they can actually understand the offering that we can offer and really start to engage with the regulator. And I've seen some great examples of this in the industry where we work very closely with one bank where we obviously educated them on what our SaaS offering is from areas around security, operations, evergreening, and so forth. Gave them a lot of support with regards to all the relevant certifications. And they started to engage with the regulator to understand what approvals they needed to get from that regulator to be able to put their critical workload, which was core banking, in the cloud itself. As part of that process, they engaged quite proactively with the regulator. They even invited the regulator in for a couple of briefings to talk about what SaaS was from their perspective, and that could obviously builds a very good rapport with the regulator. And they were able to obviously get that necessary approval and move forward with the project itself. So very much engage with the regulator very early on. That's my key advice now. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I think that was a very valid point. So for me, it's all about change management because it's not about technology. I think as I started off with, we are being faced with challenges in terms of disruption. Disruption can be coming from the competitors, the market dynamics. We want to drive the cost down. All of that involves people, process, technology. And at the end of the day, is how you manage the change management. And with that, it's a culture change. So I would say to some of Sam's point is all about external. How do you engage with the regulators? For me, I would say internally, you have to engage your risk and compliance and security team early. And that's part of the change management. Because if you're not making the right change, you're not actually doing a better job to your customer, because you want to be customer obsessed. You want the customer to be buying and also using your product in a very long term, right? You want to be holistic. You want to have a 360 view of the customer. So you want to break down your silos. You want to be able to offer all products to your customers at the right time, at the right price, and at the right market. So I think these are the things that actually needs to look at from a top-down approach. Everything that you do, whether you're using a SaaS or using cloud or data or AI, it doesn't matter, it has to be driving an outcome. And that business outcome is how you sustain the change and how you sustain the continuous improvement, whether it is technology, moving away from legacy and taking a cloud technology or something like that. So I think change management and managing the culture element and the people, process, and technology will be your success factors.
Thanks. So now we have some questions from the audience, and there's 3 questions I can see. So I'll read the first one, and either one of you can decide to answer. Does Temenos intend to get AAOI FI certification or other similar certifications to expand services to Islamic financial institutions?
That's a good question. It's obviously related more to product as opposed to the SaaS cloud service. All I can say at this point in time as a technologist itself, our Temenos offering itself does have Islamic capability. We have a number of customers, be it in places like Indonesia and Malaysia, where Islamic banking is quite prominent, as well as in the Middle East itself. I can't comment directly with regards to these specific certifications, but what I can say is we do have Islamic capability, and I'm more than happy to engage with that person who brought up the question to bring them to the right experts to get that addressed.
Okay, I think that's good, Zan. So let's look at the second question. Can you talk about cost and time for implementation for small-scale projects with 10,000 customers and 100 users?
Okay, so again, take this more from a Temenos SaaS cloud service perspective. Obviously, the duration of any project very much depends. There are many variables itself. If you have specific customization needs, then obviously that could increase the time of a project. But I mean, typically, as an example, one bank actually in the US that I know of was able to adopt the capabilities of our offering on the lending side, as well as on the current account and the savings side for our retail, and were able to go live within 6 months. And that's just a typical case. But as I said, if there are additional modules, additional customizations that are needed, it could increase in size. So it really very much depends on the scope of the project itself. But as an example, I've seen cases where typically 6 months where you adopt the capabilities that are available in our standard offering.
In terms of how speed has been accelerated in today's environment, maybe I can just use one example of GenAI, right? You can deploy a chat into anything that you want to have an interactive human language chat, right, with GenAI. With the documentation, you can point to a site, you can point to any documents, PDF file, whatever, in no time. So this is the speed of deployment today, GenAI. So compared to, yes, of course, for the Temenos, it's a SaaS offering. I mean, 6 months is actually very fast for financial services. But talking about the tools, you can deploy your tools like Copilot and all of that, a chat, it's in no time. You can just click few clicks and you're done. So I think this is where the speed of innovation, I would say, is really the speed of doing something. Start something very small, start something very impactful, start something that can drive business value. Today's technology doesn't take a lot of time.
Very good, Connie. So the third question, I think probably most of it has been answered, but I'll ask this question. What are the entry requirements for prospective customers with Temenos?
Within Temenos itself, we have different lines of capability. So it can be, for example, retail, it can be corporate, it can be wealth, can be payments, for example. Very much depends on is needed. We tend to obviously offer our capability to banks and financial organizations of really all shapes and sizes. Really, if you are a bank itself or financial organization with a license, it's very likely that that Temenos is able to help you with its capability in one shape or form.
So there is one more question. When you say core banking, basic module, what does it mean?
Basic can be, for example, personal loans. It can be, it could be, for example, a mortgage loan itself, those two products. It can be a CASA, so whether it's a current account or a saving account, and those modules are accordingly configurable. So, for example, if it's a mortgage, it could be the interest rate, it could be variable, it could be fixed, it could be the duration of that mortgage itself. So that's the type of capability that is sort of basic. In addition to that, there'll be integration to upstream and downstream systems. So basic could be that you're generating sub-ledger entries that are then integrated to the bank's central GL system. You're also generating data events that can then be passed down to their data warehouse itself. As I said, the solution itself is customizable. If there is a need for something more specific to a particular market, that may require more customization. So that becomes beyond a basic offering.
I think questions are coming in. So one question is interesting. So what's your experience of a small country like Maldives or Mauritius?
I can only say we do have customers in such places and who have been using our solution for some time. And I've also had discussions with banks with regards to moving to SaaS as well.
What about MSB? Would it be relevant for them to be able to leverage on Temenos solutions?
If they are a bank, then
yeah,
absolutely.
That's right. There's also about e-wallets, for the matter, but I don't. Yeah, so the same thing. It's a cloud-based SaaS as well. So
indeed,
yes. So one just popped up now. How is the bandwidth consumption for banks to communicate with SaaS?
If we're talking about data bandwidth itself, again, connectivity can be through either virtual private network, or quite a number of our customers make use of ExpressRoute, which is the direct connection from Microsoft Azure that provides SLAs in terms of its availability and bandwidth. And that's what we recommend for many customers to take, so that they are able to have a reliable connectivity to the SaaS cloud service.
Do you have some examples of remittance companies using your cloud services, SaaS service as well?
Not that I can think of at this point in time, but that I can actually comment on. But I'm sure we do, out of our 3,000 plus customers globally.
Yeah. Maybe Connie, if you would like to answer this question. Comparatively, SaaS and your normal solutions, what would you be the percentage of cost difference between, since we have monthly payments, and can SaaS be more expensive than traditional or on-prem hosted services? Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's the total cost of ownership, right? So I think it's not just from our perspective, obviously, it's the cloud consumption, which is one piece of it, but then it's also the application on top of it, the operation side on top of it. What I do know is most of our customers, why they consider a SaaS, is more like a build versus buy, right? So we have SaaS offering partners ranging from next best offer, cybersecurity, risk, payments, and all of them, right? And a lot of our customers actually choose the SaaS offering rather than building them in-house. And I think a lot of that is because of the application provider like Temenos and others. They were able to maintain and keep upgrading to the new systems, right? So you actually get the latest and greatest. The other thing is a lot of those are also related to some of the regulation changes that you might need to comply with, and where these software providers or application providers, they were able to do that because that's their core business of maintaining the maintaining the software applications. From our perspective, the same thing, right? We as a cloud provider, we have to continuously maintain and build services and controls based on the regulatory requirements. As I mentioned, right, this is our core product, and we are being used by financial services. And by the way, there's many SaaS and non-SaaS, which is like native implementation, both ways within the banks. So I think it's really a preference between your own control, your own privacy and the data where you are, and also your skill set and the speed you want to take. I think the speed to market governs quite a lot of these decisions, but the long-term servability and the maintenance part. So I would say every scenario is different, but rest assured, our customer all do the total cost of ownership comparison. So I don't think there's an implementation that cost has not been considered.
Thank you, Connie. So now we have reached the conclusion of this webinar. I would like to thank all the participants. Thank you very much.